Welcome, my friends, to this community showdown featuring Bretonnia, who shall be led by Hero of Rome with a guest appearance from the Green Knight. And today, guys, he's going to be facing off against Vampire Coast, who shall be helmed by Zablaski, and it looks like he does have a Vampire Fleet Admiral, and I'm guessing Lore of Vampires, considering he has crabs and single entities here with the Gunnery Whites. So as far as the build goes for Bretonnia, in the front line, it's going to be a combination of Men-at-Arms and Battle Pilgrims, all shielded, of course, against the Vampire Coast Powder. And I actually think that Battle Pilgrims are a very good pick in the front line. They have pretty good combat stats, 40, 31, 35 in terms of their offense. So they're going to be able to really punch through the chaff. They're going to be able to beat down deckhand mobs pretty efficiently, and they have good leadership as well. So they're going to hold for quite some time, therefore allowing your peasant archers in the back to take out the gunnery mobs of the Vampire Coast. For the leadership, he does also have the Fey Enchantress and the Green Knight. Now, the Green Knight is a great niche pick because typically Bretonnia really does struggle with the big armored monsters. So if you look at some of the armored beasts here, we have a Gunnery White with 120 armor, and with Invocation, these guys are very tough to take down. So Rotting Prometheans in the back, so two of those, including the Lamprey's Revenge. So for Bretonnia in general, I mean, Knights can get in there, Questing Knights can do an okay job, but it's still very hard to take out such threats. So I think mixing in the Green Knight is kind of a niche pick here is really, really good because typically Vampire Coast is just going to bring Invocation and Drown Dead. They're not going to have like Spirit Leech and things like that. I mean, occasionally you can see a wild pick like that, but for the most part, the Green Knight is going to be relatively safe. I don't know if any of these guys do magic damage back here. Looks like the Rotting Prometheans don't. These guys don't. I'm just kind of checking. I could have sworn I saw something that did, but anyways, we'll look as the battle does go on. So for the rest of the Bretonnian army, Peasant Archers in the back, which are a bit of a natural counter against the Vampire Coast Gunnery mobs, which then counter the Bretonnian Knights, so it's kind of like a game of 3D chess there. We do also have the Knights of the Lionhearted, Anti-Large, and Encourage, so the Anti-Large still can do well against crabs, considering their charge bonus is quite good, but nonetheless, it still is rather hard to take down those guys with these Knights, because they're always stacked on top of halberds and deckhand mobs and things like that, but he does have Knights of the Lionhearted, and in the back here, Mounted Yeoman, and it looks like on the far side, Hero of Rome is going to be coming in deep with Knights of the Realm, as well as Mounted Yeoman. So over here in the front for the Vampire Coast, this is a pretty cool combo actually. He does have the double Gunnery White on the crabs. So not only are they pretty good in melee and hard to kill because they are, Promethean hero characters, but they're also decent snipers. You pop the Ballistics Calibration to get plus 60% accuracy, reload skill, and you basically just snipe characters or use them to kind of, fight in the infantry fight. So they're probably going to be trying to snipe the Fey Enchantress, I would imagine. Green Knight probably isn't the choicest target for them. For the rest of the army here for Zablaski, it's halberds and deckhand mobs in the front with the Vampire Fleet Admiral, who I think is on foot, actually, considering the HP pool is only 3,000. Yes, it's going to be on foot. And in the back for Vampire Coast, we have the Black Spot Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob handguns, and it looks like two angry Krabby Patties. Rotting Prometheans are pretty good against Bretonnian Knights. They're heavily armored. Questing Knights can do a number on them, but aside from that, they're going to be durable against like all the other Knights. It looks like there's going to be a Carronade as well to kind of serve as a perpetual deterrent against a Cav, and that is pretty much it. So let's get this show on the road, guys, and see how this battle goes. So initially, the Gunnery Mobs are going to be shooting in, and like I said, with that 60% accuracy, they're making some pretty good contact against the Fey Enchantress, who is going to be forced back, and their range is 180. Wow. That's really impressive. I mean, typically handguns are like 145 range, 150, but these guys rocking a 180 range is going to make them really good snipers, and the Fey Enchantress probably won't be seeing much combat. Now, Zablaski is going to be rotating his crabs over. I think he kind of senses a flank overload here. Knights of the Realm coming in, Mounted Yeoman, so he's going to be sending his crabs over to this area, I would imagine. Granted, Bretonnia is going to be coming pretty hard from this side as well. And the Fey Enchantress plus the Green Knight are also going to be rotating up into the forest. Now, the Gunnery Mobs, or excuse me, the Archers, the Archer Mobs, the Peasant Bowmen with Fire Arrows and company are going to be shooting into the Halberds and probably into the Black Spot here, and should be able to do some pretty solid damage. In the front here, the Vampire Fleet Admiral is going to be running Interference, so basically he's just going to be summoning deckhand mobs to chaff here to block up the Battle Pilgrims, which is a great play because he wants to delay the time until the Battle Pilgrims can get into the front line and actually start tearing apart his real units. So the summons here are going to be tar pitting against the Battle Pilgrims and, losing the fight, obviously, but still doing their job. In the back, a really brutal catch, actually. The Mounted Yeomen are able to sneak around, and Zablaski does lose his Carronade here, which is pretty disastrous for sure. I mean, that's a really nice tool against some of these Cav units like Knights of the Realm. And on top of that, Knights of the Lionhearted are going to be coming in, but they're going to be intercepted here by the deckhand mobs with polearms. So not going to be a great trade for them, so he's probably going to lose a couple of these Knights here and really not get much for it. So far back and forth trade. I mean, the Carronade going down is pretty bad, but also getting a pick on the Knights of the Lionhearted here is quite good. However, it looks like Hero of Rome is going to be committing with the Mounted Yeoman, trying to just smash through these guys and break their leadership, but I think at this point he's actually going to be pulling back. Now, if we take a big overhead look at the fight, you can see the Peasant Bowmen are shooting into the Black Spot, which is a good pick. Black Spot are an anti-large halberd unit as well, so against Bretonnia, you guys can see it's pretty self-explanatory. They're going to be quite good. Now, we have the big crab fight over here, so there's going to be the Rotting Prometheans and the Tide of Skilled fighting. They are actually able to fend off the Bretonnians. The crabs are kind of serving as a roadblock against the Knights, and of course, they're also pretty good against these Pilgrims. So, in Tide of Skilled, we'll put up a better fight against Battle Pilgrims compared to a regular deckhand mob. So this fight looks to go pretty well for Vampire Coast. Granted, the Bretonnian pressure in the back line has really paid dues. The Carronade going down despite losing the yeoman that did it is still 100% worth it, and the peasant archers are tearing apart a lot of the Vampire Coast infantry. So you can see that the deckhand mobs and the gunnery mobs really worn down here, and battle pilgrims, of course, will eventually win these fights. There's one group up to 86 kills because they were able to cleave through the chaff, and now they're getting into the juicy spot. Chalice of Potions is going to be coming down right here. A nice little blob of the Vampire Coast troops. The men-at-arms are holding them, but it looks like Zablaski, with a very nice reaction, is going to be pulling back, and it basically just nukes the Bretonnian troops. So a true Bretonnian play right there, just throwing the presence into the mud to get some value, but yeah, for the most part, very good dodge by Zablaski. Now, as far as the sniping goes, Fey Enchantress is just getting gooned, so something I wasn't paying too much attention to, but the Fey Enchantress just got sniped out by these gunnery whites. So man, really creative stuff right here. These guys just getting in there with a 180 range and their ballistics calibration, doing outstanding work against the Bretonnian leadership. So a pretty even battle for sure. Bretonnia is really winning the infantry game, I think, in many respects, but you know, the Vampire Coast was able to kill the Fey Enchantress, or at least push her off, but it looks like she's back, so that's pretty big. So does she, let's see what spell she has. So Fey Enchantress probably has Regrowth and Earthblood, so with the Regrowth, she should be able to come back up. Now, the Vampire Coast has a lot of armor left. They do have the 2 Gunnery Whites. They have the Vampire Fleet Admiral with Invocation, I would imagine. And plus, we do also have the Lamprey's Revenge here. So Invocation of Nehek right here could just be a huge value train play. Healing up the Lamprey's Revenge, who are already a pain in the butt to kill for these guys. Because Peasant Mobs, or the Peasant Bowman Archers, have really terrible AP. I mean, pretty much the only thing with good AP that's left on the battlefield for Bretonnia is going to be the Green Knight. Looks like an Awakening of the Wood is going to be going down over here. Just getting that stiff wood all over these zombie-powered deckhand mobs. Those guys are broken. It looks like, or at least, you know, critical binding, so they're at 8 leadership, should be crumbling relatively soon. Peasant archers are going to get pressured, though. Nice summon there by Zablaski, so he's going to be summoning in gunnery mobs, which are going to be advancing and shooting, but there are some reserves coming in, or I should say troops that routed that are now coming back, and that one lone peasant pretty much eats like the whole volley. Poor guy. But the men-at-arms of Bretonnia, the true backbone of Bretonnia, these guys are going to be charging in to intercept the gunnery mobs, and some peasant mobs with their pitchforks and hoes going to be coming in and should be able to pin these guys down. Now, the bounce bar is really even, pretty much a deadlock game in terms of the bounce of power, and also just my general assessment. I think it's very even right now, because the bounce power isn't always indicative of it being even, because you have to consider the other variables, like is there, you know, answers left for the units that your opponent has in the battlefield, etc., etc. So Gunnery Whites are still in pretty good shape. The Vampire Fleet Admiral has pretty good ammo as well, and I think she has pretty good AP on her little pistol there, so that still is something to consider. And the Fey Enchantress has to be very conservative here, just hide, because that's one of the ways the Vampire Coast really could clinch this game, is if they pick off the Fey Enchantress and then their heroes just kind of run shop on the very tattered Bretonnian army that's left. Here in the back we have the Lamprey's Revenge. I mean, they still have a bit of healing left, but they are taking a little bit of damage from the Pilgrims. Peasant Archers, as far as ammo goes, oh, this one group of Peasant Archers just getting taken out right here. The crabs coming to crab city, crab legs, crab city, whatever stupid analogy you want to use. They're just getting down to business on these archers, but it looks like they're going to be pulling back right now. Green Knight's coming in. The Green Knight, Giles, is he's pissed. You know, some of his countrymen are taking a bit of a beating here, and he is going to be an absolute piece of just work here against these crabs. Great AP values, good combat stats. 60, he also does magic damage, which I don't know if it's going to be pertinent against the crabs. They do get all hands hoy here to give them some leadership to keep them from crumbling, but nonetheless, Green Knight is going to be such a monster, especially if Fey Enchantress can stabilize and provide him with healing, because there's not really any magic damage here for the Vampire Coast. So he's going to be like, you're going to have to grind through that 75% physical resist that he does have from being a ghostly, spooky unit. Now, if we take a look, I don't think there's too many Bretonnian troops on the periphery of the battlefield. Some peasant archers here out of ammo, some crabs and men-at-arms are going to be coming back, but it looks like they pretty much cleaned up most of the Vampire Coast aside from the heroic units. And I feel like every Vampire Coast, like every single Vampire Coast, including my own game, comes down to this. It's always like you have a couple of heroes and vampiric units left, and then it's just like them grinding against a horde of units. I think the nerfs to Vampire Coast summons plus the nerfs to deckhand mobs. If you guys look at deckhand mobs, I don't think we can tell right now, but their maximum HP is actually 8,000. They've had a nerf of about 700 HP. So, you know, Vampire Coast is a lot less sustainable than they used to be with the nerfs to summons and things like that, which I think is good, but certainly they've taken a lot of nerfs in the past couple months. But here you can see the Gunnery White's going to be fighting against Mounted Yeoman. Should be able to win that fight. The other Gunnery White's in pretty good shape, but here you can see the Green Knight's just going deep. I mean, there's not much to stop him. He's been able to really take out these crabs here. Lamprey's Revenge is just pretty much crumbling and debilitated, and the Green Knight is in perfect health. He's gotten 60 kills, which is decent, considering he's probably fighting, you know, chaff for a large portion of the battle. But the bounce power is a little bit in the favor. I don't know. It's just so damn close. Yeah, it keeps ebbing back up towards the middle here, so it's a little bit hard to say, but I don't know. The thing is, and like, even if it was in the favor of Vampire Coast here, having these really powerful heroic units, I honestly think that Green Knight might be able to almost solo these three. I mean, maybe not in the 3v1 with the 3 crabs plus the caster, depending on the winds of magic, but Green Knight like has the potential to solo these units. So despite the fact that like there's not much left for Bretonnia, Green Knight is still a huge issue. So he's there. Fey Enchantress is lurking somewhere, I would imagine, or maybe the Fey Enchantress just got picked off. Really sneaky with those Gunnery Whites. I haven't been able to really see the action he's been getting with them. So here, the Green Knight, he's valiantly going after the Fleet Admiral, and the Fleet Admiral's like kind of trapped up by men-at-arms and other troops like that, and the summons, or the troops that the Admiral does have nearby, are actually summons, if I'm not mistaken, so they're going to be disappearing here relatively soon. Yes, are they? Let's actually go ahead and take a look here. I think that's the crumbling though. No, they're actually the actual units, so actual zombie part deckhand mobs here, but I don't know, guys. It looks like the Green Knight's coming in. Green Knight's on the hunt, and the Vampire Fleet Admiral is going to be probably going down here. I mean, Green Knight is the hunter of men's souls. 84 speed, massive charge bonus, and I don't think the Vampire Fleet Admiral is going to be able to sustain for much longer because, you know, the supporting chaff, the deckhand mobs are crumbling themselves, negative 44. It's looking quite grim bones there. So the Green Knight's going to bounce out, obviously just trying to, you know, get an angle through, pushing through some of the noble peasant bowmen of Bretonnia. Zablasky with really good micro, though, and Hero of Rome as well, just finding those juicy angles. Just a great game all around here. So the Vampire Fleet Admiral is going to be trying to put the moves of like Jagger here on the Green Knight, just juking back and forth with its dance moves, but I don't know. Eventually, the Green Knight toll is going to have to be paid. The Troll toll must be paid, and it looks like the Vampire Fleet Admiral is crumbling horribly. Negative 50. Oh, and gets steel chaired by the Green Knight now. So now we have gunnery whites. And for the first time in the game, it looks like the bounce power is in the favor of the noble Bretonnians here. So we have two gunnery whites. Now, what's funny about gunnery whites is they can actually kite really effectively. So these guys can actually run and shoot. So, you know, considering if the Green Knight wasn't here, for example, these gunnery whites could probably just run and kite this entire army into the Shadow Realm and just defeat them, actually. But considering the Green Knight's here to pursue, and the Green Knight is quite a bit faster than these crabs, it's going to be very tough. So bounce power again in favor of Bretonnia, but the Green Knight just rocking 2400 HP. It is going to be so tough, and AP values coming in against the Gunnery White's going to be tough. And also we have a horde of loyal Bretonnians, battle pilgrims, pitchforks. We got all the goodies coming out, and I don't know if these guys are going to be able to get away. So this Gunnery White here is going to be taking some work. Green Knight with another attack right there. Looks like, did it make contact? And the Green Knight is swinging in. It looks like missing, though. The melee defense of the Crab holding up. 46 going against 60 melee defense of the Green Knight. So the Green Knight certainly has a little bit more melee attack in terms of that ratio there. But, you know, it's probably going to be, as soon as the Green Knight makes like a couple attacks, that guy's probably going to be crumbling. But I mean, maybe, because all these Bretonnian peasants are like within like 20 leadership, but 2100 HP on the Green Knight. And this is actually a good play by Zablasky, realizing that if he kills the Green Knight, it's pretty much going to be probably game over for Bretonnia. So he's going to be popping his ballistics calibration. And the Gunnery Whites on the back still shoot, despite the fact that the crabs are attacking. So it's kind of like a double 1-2 punch here, but it would be, I would kind of like it like if in game 3 or eventually you could make it so like you could lock targets with your missile unit. So if you have like a missile unit, like a cav unit that has like a bows, you could like tell them to shoot a certain target while they carry out their other orders. I think that'd be a really helpful thing. Anyways, Green Knight here is 1800 HP, so the Green Knight's actually taking a little bit of work and a bit of a mass exodus here from the peasants, but the Green Knight's charging is just going to be too brutal. Oh, and is he coming in? Is he going to get the death blow? And it looks like the crab's going to be crumbling here as the Green Knight gets a huge charge, and the Gunnery White is going to be falling to the earth. So now there's pretty much no way the Gunnery White here can, it's coming in pissed with more powder, but there's no way the Green Knight's going to fall to this foul beast. But I don't know, are we going to have the epic duel of the ages? I mean, the peasants are breaking off, but man, yeah, like I said, Green Knight is just an absolute world destroyer. That 75 physical resistance is going to be really, really mean, and the Krabby Patty here is not going to be having a good time. So some peasants are coming back online. It looks like men-at-arms, peasant archers, but there's no ammo, so it's not really a huge factor that they're coming back online here. And you can see the peasants are actually chipping away a couple HP at a time, and it is making a difference. Green Knight circles back in for a charge here. 34 leadership on the Gunnery White, and the Bounce of Fire is pretty heavily in the favor of Bretonnia at this point. And you can see that swiping blow right there against the Gunnery White is probably going to be enough, and we can do a little bit of fast forwarding here because it can be a little bit monotonous in these endgame situations. And yeah, the Crab's trying its best. The Green Knight coming in for another pounding charge. -6 leadership, -16. It's getting pretty close to army losses at that point, and it looks like the Vampire Coast will withdraw. So very well played to both players. That just shows you the value of the Green Knight in that matchup. You might think that it's not like going to be super strong, but Bretonnia, one of the biggest issues is that they really have trouble against the big armor. Like, it's really hard to deal with crabs and single entities like that. It always has been for Bretonnia. However, guys, this battle actually took place before Gotrek and Felix, so now the Bretonnians have access to Gotrek. So if you could mix in Gotrek, for example, and the Green Knight, like, what would you cut? I mean, you could cut like, you could cut quite a bit of stuff, like 2 battle pilgrims and like 1 archer and get Gotrek in there, and that would give you some huge anti-monster, which I think could be quite cool. So the addition of Gotrek and Felix, and oh my goodness, so mixing in Felix with the Green Knight, Felix heals all nearby characters. He's going to be healing the Green Knight constantly. That is nasty. So the combos for Bretonnia certainly got a lot stronger, and I think they're going to have a much better time in the matchups against armor now. But so very well played to Hero of Rome and Zablasky. That was a great game, so thank you guys for sending that one over. It was quite a bit of fun to watch, as well as cast. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this glorious Bretonnian Green Knight showdown, the Vampire Coast, which was a pretty cool build. I really like seeing the Gunnery White crab sniping. It's quite interesting. So we'll see you guys on the other side, and thanks again for watching. Take care.